trees in the backwoods night. Red lights cutting through the pine in flight. Bigfoot stomping with his youngling beard. Whispers of tales that ain't too clear. UFOs buzzing solo through the haze. Howling banshees set the forest ablaze. Jersey devil howls, drink rays to the sky. Drunken cryptids party until the morning's night. Yeah. It's showtime, running wild in the moonlight. Stars burn down, watch the freaks all take flight.
To good times.
Raise your glasses to the mysteries divine. It's showtime, let the
Yeah, it's always the Fae folk. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. I just want to give a quick shout out to blademedia.com. Thank you, Dylan, for all the hard work you have done on the website and the logo. I love it. I appreciate it. You guys, Dylan is local. He is a local multimedia producer, and everything multimedia that you want done, you need to reach out to him. Blademedia.com, BLAYED, media.com. And of course, you got to give a shout out to Old Bart's. If you want to go get some good barbecue, go to Old Bart's there in North Little Rock, 600 North Broadway. Tell them I sent you. You get hooked up. And of course, surprisingly, I got a wonderful package in the mail today from Flavors of the Forest. Wow, you guys, thank you so very much for the package. I just tried the one with the lion's mane seasoning on steak that I had earlier for dinner. So, and it was amazing. So thank you so very much. Great. I appreciate you guys. But enough on that one. We do have the Cryptid Fest coming up in June 6th. So we are still looking for vendors and for sponsors. So if you're interested in doing that, reach out, let me know. Tickets are available for sale for the VIP section. You do get to have a wonderful dinner with the VIP speakers the night before, and you get a little swag bag as well. So it's something you want to check out. And you'll be in the air conditioning for the VIP speakers. The free speakers will be outside. The VIPs will be in the air conditioning. Just kind of teasing y'all with air conditioning in June in Arkansas. Yeah, it's hot. But I've got a special guest coming on tonight, and I want to say is a good friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, JD from Tremor the Spirits, is the one that hooked us up. And I'm excited to sit down and talk with you guys. Because, you know, I love the paranormal. I'm all about the paranormal as well as just cryptids. Everybody's calling me the Bigfoot guy, but I like the paranormal side of the house as well. So everybody out there, please welcome, Philip and Amanda from Offbeat Paranormal. You guys, how y'all doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. I would say that was your cue.
So yeah, we're Offbeat Paranormal. We've kind of been making a little bit of the rounds, but we've been able to spend quite a bit of time with the Chumming boys, which they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've trying to make ourselves a little bit more known than before. Originally started off as just kind of a couple of people who are casually doing it, as far as going with friends to different places and not really any kind of group or anything. And then finally we decided to kind of pull the trigger and just, have our Offbeat Paranormal. We actually do have a big year coming up this year. So we're going to be going about a week and a half. It's going to be several different investigations, but we're starting off at Ashmore. Then we're going to Indiana State Sanatorium.
Billy Creek Village.
Billy Creek is booked for that day, I found out.
Oh.
And then right after that is Old Hospital on College Hill. And then, of course, if you're in West Virginia, you have to go to Point Pleasant. I mean, it's 2 hours north of where we're at, so that's a must. And then we're working our way on
Ada. No, excuse me. We were in Ada. Me and JD, the Chumming boys. We were a couple hours away from Point Pleasant, and we were like, man, it was so close. We just couldn't make it.
That's awful.
But yeah, we're excited to do that. It was between that and taking a day trip through Trans-Allegheny, and we're like, you know what? We'd rather go to Point Pleasant than Trans-Allegheny for that one. But we're on our way up to Salem. The whole point of driving up the trip is there's an event going up there that's being put on by MJ Dixon and Richard Estep, and it's going to be like 4 or 5 days out in Salem, so it's going to be a good time. But we're like, let's just make an entire adventure out of this. So we have a few groups that are going to be going investigating with us throughout the process, and it's going to be a blast, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started out with
Something
just,
like,
I was
go
just
ahead.
saying, it started out with the two of us just hitting some spots on the way to Salem, like get a rental car, do whatever, stay in some cool places. And then we were like, we could make this big. And we know people all across the country that love to investigate, friends that we don't get to see hardly ever unless there's an event. So we made our own events. And it's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
I relate to making your own event, with the Cryptid Fest. So I do not want to attack any of the other festivals or, whatnot that happens here in Arkansas. But to me, it was, death by PowerPoint, and it was always the same speakers. And I wanted to do something different and unique. I wanted to be able to bring in people who normally wouldn't have an opportunity to be able to get up in front and share their research. And this is new research. This isn't 20-year-old research. This isn't people who were in the woods 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The people coming to speak are people who've been in the woods last weekend.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to be able to share with, the public. And part of the reason why I started the podcast as well, because I love encounters. I love to hear encounters. I like to sit down and talk and, like we're sitting around a campfire, having a couple of beers and telling stories of what we've seen or what's happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I was talking to a friend today, because Missouri Paracon's like the big kind of blow up in the paranormal side of things with that being canceled and everything, and so everybody has their own opinions on what's going on. But we, as far as those goes, we're trying to become more involved in them. We want to be able to, the ones that are a little bit more about the learning and just developing your talents and hearing the good stories, we kind of want to start becoming more involved in. And so we're signing up for some, we're going to be a part of yours, so we're going to see you down there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're actually our first, unless something pops up before that, you're going to be our first one, so you get a pop or cherry there.
Hey, you're gonna pop my cherry too, so don't feel bad. It'll be like prom night for both of us.
Sweet. We'll invite the Fae folk, right?
Exactly. It's always a damn Fae folk.
Anything to try and make him
I
happy.
always look, I'm on the fence. Like I just bought, like we were talking before we started recording about the Fae folk and the setup. I just bought them yesterday 3 more solar mushroom lights just to keep them happy and make their little area all nice and
Now, if you're out
Fae-folkish.
there swearing and cussing and being mean to them while you're putting up those mushroom lights, they're not going to take that as a peaceful offering. You've got to be out there and you've got to, talk to them sweetly and, you can't be out there throwing cuss words and rocks and shit,
I'm an old Army Ranger. I don't do things nicely. That's my excuse. You should have heard me at the Sally House with Chummy the Spirits. It was quite comical.
I'm sure that was. We haven't actually been at the Sally House. We've been to McIntyre up in Atchison, and we had some pretty good experiences out there at McIntyre for sure. We first chance I had to use the board that she made for me for my birthday, and we were showing somebody else, and Amanda had asked why the person who we were talking to was there. And, you never be like, do you know you're dead or are you dead? Of course they're dead. But we asked them why they're there. And they just gave the answer, started doing dead during the session. And in the middle of it, well, unbeknownst to us, there was a dead bell 2 rooms over we knew nothing about. And in the middle of that dead bell rang off at the same time. And we're like, all of us were like, what? The only time that night is when that went off. And the girl that was with us, her daughter was in that room just laying down on the couch. And she's like, Mom! She didn't even know that was in there. So that gave her pretty decently scared. But I mean, that session, we were able to get a name, age, and what happened. And afterwards, we looked it up and we were able to verify who it was.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And we've been getting some pretty decent results about being able to verify stuff lately, which is really cool. Not just board wise, but with the SS session, everything else, we've been able to.
Internet. Okay. All right. Which is weird because normally, I don't know, but I interviewed Fireman and we had to record 3 times because we could not get a good connection.
This happens to us
and
every
then I just interviewed
time.
another guy.
The last 3 times.
Yeah. You were doing great before we started recording. Now here we are. We'll push it. We'll push through, see what happens though.
Like, so it messed up with Corky, and then it went. We did Ghost Gossip a couple of days ago, and there was a delay. There was like interference out the wazoo. There was all sorts of stuff happening.
We blamed it on the doll.
Yeah, and then now, we're having this going on, and it's funny because when we're on there with John.
Hold on. The doll.
Yes, the doll that what's her name? Ghost Gossip.
Jocelyn. She gave Ghost Gossip a doll. Ashley a doll, and so she was behind her.
It was brand new, and she wasn't having any technical difficulties until this doll came into the room.
Yeah. And so and she was like, all this stuff has started like happening kind of like around upstairs and stuff where the doll was at or wherever she has it at. So yeah, she ended up moving the doll out of the room just to see if that would work. But like even when we were on a podcast with John, there was a noise that happened in our bathroom, and even he heard it, and we're like, what was that? So something goes on, I guess, apparently, when we're trying to talk to people.
Only when we're podcasting.
Yeah. So I've only had 2 times this happen. I was on Codega of Codex with Rye. Great guy. We had to re-record it because no audio came through. And then we were doing Dudes from the Internet episode with Nevermore Hollows and Miss Monsters of Mullet John. And we got to a part of the show where we were discussing if you were to recommend somebody's, which episode would you want someone to start off with on somebody else's podcast? And John said, I would, recommend they go to Roger's story from the LBL. And I was like, yeah, as I got talking about Roger, and for that part, all of a sudden, they couldn't hear me. They could see me. They couldn't hear me. I logged in, I logged out. I kept jumping in and out. And finally, I was looking, I'm going, so yeah, that was exactly it. Like
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Y'all have fun. Point. Yeah, I was texting. I'm going, just have fun. Apparently, they don't want me talking at all. So, but
yeah, now it's happening with you.
So what got you guys? It might be. It's for the government watching everything. So what got you guys involved into the paranormal? Lost them, and we'll see if we can get them to come back in. Funny how this happens, you guys. Whenever we start doing anything at all, sometimes when it comes to the paranormal, weird things start to happen on the show. See,
no, the way I got started, everyone likes a good ghost story. So there's a couple of happenstances or circumstances because I had started quite a journey. I'd always able to kind of see certain things when I was a kid, hear a lot of stuff. That was just like normal to me, and it didn't like register until later on when I started going through just really getting into it. I was talking with my friend's mom, and I was actually kind of developing my abilities and all that. And she basically said, like, you're kind of at the point where if you cross this, there's no going back. So like once you start really seeing, there's no way for you to be able to kind of like pull back and not see anything anymore. Is one of those things that it won't go away. So that night I went to sleep and I had this dream where this milky white spirit in a wheelchair, he was like solid white, but it was like a more of a milky white, started coming down just slowly closer to me, kind of like snaking. And then it came up to me, and all he said was, "Is this what you want?" And I was like I maybe took a half a second in my dream and was like, hell yeah, of course this is what I want. And then the next like major event as far as like seeing anything was that over at my grandma's house. And, I'd always felt uneasy there. I'd always, or at least staying up in the room where I was at. It's always with wolves for me. It seems like when I saw like a shadow, what looked like a wolf when I was a little kid. But so that probably played into it. But I always thought wolves were going to come up and attack me in the second story of my grandma's house. And like, this is the middle of nowhere, Southwest Kansas, an hour from anything really. So, I never really, paid much attention to it. It just kind of felt uneasy, paranoia, whatever. But once I started getting into everything, the room had gotten like really staticky, black and white, kind of like the old static from TVs that they used to have. So you could tell the energy started like really building in that room. And like, I just kind of like look within the static, and there's this old pioneer woman with like a bonnet standing right beside me, looking at me. And I'm just looking at it, and it just slowly moves down to the foot of the bed and then just looks at me still. And I'm just staring right back at her. And I'm just thinking, this makes so much sense.
She had like poltergeist vibes to it.
Yeah. But I fell asleep right after that because I was finally comforted with the fact that I knew exactly what it was going on.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why, there's, other times staying in, having to live in haunted places or something like that when, people ever ask, you're okay, like staying the night in prisons and asylums and all that kind of stuff. Haven't been to, I think I've been to an asylum. No. Staying in really anywhere that's haunted. I have no issue with it because I've already been through that part of it. So it's just like, if you're gonna wake me up, you're gonna wake me up.
I get that. Whenever I'm having a paranormal encounter, it's still a little jumpy. Like I said, for like the last few times I got touched, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. But what startles me is that when I'm coming awake and something, something creepy there. That's the only part that, like the last time that I can recall was in Texas, and that's where the shadow thing was speaking its head around the corner into the bedroom. And I thought it was my daughter. And then I remembered my daughter was in California. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. As soon as I sat up, it saw me seeing it, and it bolted. And I was out of bed thinking there was somebody in the apartment, and nobody.
I was watching TV one time in North Carolina, and I was on the couch and nobody else was awake. It was like first thing in the morning, Saturday morning or something like that, just watching a soccer game. And we've had this kid spirit like play with toys and all that kind of stuff in the bedroom, and they would go off every now and then and all that. But I was just there by myself, and then the kid just jumps over the couch like, ha! Like it was purposely trying to scare me. It made me jump. I was like, no,
That'd have been me.
yeah, I got a good chuckle out of it afterwards, but you good?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I got everything off the internet.
I was about to say, because what's funny is so when Philip was talking, everything was doing really good. When you weren't in the room and you came back, and kind of started acting up a little bit on my end. Wonder if it's you, Amanda.
Quite possibly.
She does have an electric personality.
Well,
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean, you're attracted to her. Look, she got you, so obviously she's doing something right.
Oh,
Which I did have, I don't know if it was an ego boost, but it was something weird at Walmart about 6 months ago.
oh God.
This guy came up to me in Walmart, and I was in a hurry trying to find an energy drink because we were tired. And I went clear across the store because she's waiting at the register. And so I get there, and out of nowhere, this guy comes up right beside me. It's like he leans against the aisle, the shelving, like this. And he was just like, he's like, hey there, well, aren't you just a cutie patootie? And he starts talking, and like, I'm kind of like paying attention, but like, I was like, do I know you? I was like, are you joking with me? He's like, no. And he like kept going into it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting hit on right now.
I am so sorry that I missed that.
So
I would have enjoyed that.
he actually asked me for my phone number, and I was just like, no. And just took back off to the register. And I get back to him, and I'm like, oh my God, you won't believe what just happened.
I would have laughed it off because I am like the most oblivious guy in the world. I'm those guys. I have no idea if I'm being hit on or flirted with by. I'm like, okay, thanks. So when aren't you a cutie? But you thanks, I appreciate it, man. Just got my drink. Fan of the show.
Yeah, I was kind of speechless. Yeah, all I could say was snow and keep going because I was too much of in a hurry to like give any other attention to that.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you grew up though going through the paranormal, Philip. So Amanda, what got you involved with everything?
Yeah, mine's not near as exciting as his is.
Well, don't sell yourself short.
I've always been very sensitive. I'm finding out as an adult that it's called being a psychic emotional empath, something like that. I'm trying to learn more and more about it because I've been this way my entire life, but I can walk into a room and feel what emotions are in there. If I'm talking with a person, I can pretty much predict the next thing they're going to say. If they're upset and they're hiding it, I know. I'm not stupid. It's unfortunately targeted my kids so many different times, especially the 20-year-old. That was a rough teenagehood. I pretty much knew everything that was going on. And
Mm.
I'm not scared to confront. So it wasn't until later that I found out that this is actually a gift that's given to be able to sense things emotionally and kind of feel what's going on, know what's going to happen. If I get to a location, I can immediately feel the vibe that's in it. And there was an investigation specifically that was in McAllister I was a part of a big paranormal group early on, and we were doing a residential case, and it was on Native American land. It was up at the top of a hill where a railroad track used to be, and then later on it was like a highway or travel road. I don't remember. But anyhow, there was a field of really tall grass, and there were shadows that were standing right on the edge of the grass. They won't come out, but they're just standing right there on the edge, kind of scattered all the way down, but just standing there, not moving. And the girls that I was with, because it was a bunch of us girls, the girls that I was with, there was an abandoned like school bus or something at the end of the path, the road. And they were like, oh, I want to go down there and take some pictures and look inside. And all of a sudden, like the hair on the back of my neck stands up and like my body becomes really tense. And I'm like, yo, because we're just discussing that we felt like this native presence. And I was like, y'all, we don't need to be going down there and doing that. It's like we're being allowed to be here. They're allowing us to be here. They're being cordial. I was like, we need to be cordial as well and not invade their space. Because I think if we do, it's not gonna be good. So thankfully, we did end up leaving. But a lot of that, through the stories that I had heard later, a lot of that ended up ringing true about what I had sensed up there. So, but yeah. So I've always felt things, I've always heard things, and I've seen things, but never was able to believe myself. I'm in that category, whereas things haven't been so insanely obvious, like seeing somebody like he can. Mine is more of a feeling. It's of what's the word? The
emotion.
No. That I want to say the word intention, but it's not. It's the intuition. So it's
there
more,
you go.
yeah, it's more, I knew it was an I word. It's more of that intuition so I don't get to see things most of the time with my eyes, but I'm becoming more and more confident in what I feel because on and on I'm experiencing more and things are being verified with, our Estes sessions and with the spirit board sessions. And it's getting crazy. So I'm really coming into my own now, whereas, he's had time to develop. But it's good because he's more of a physical empath and I'm an emotional empath. And when we go to locations, we're able to balance things out. I feel the things, he senses the things, in different ways, but he watches out for me, and I watch out for him. So makes us a good team.
I was
But
about to say that would make you guys a good team. So
yeah,
I got a couple of questions real quick though. So you were going somewhere and you're seeing the shadow people in the grass,
yeah.
and they were just standing there, not moving or anything at all.
Well, you could see movement, but they weren't stepping out of the grass. So it was like a field. If you imagine just up at the top of the hill, there was this really old path and the woods are here and there's this huge field like of grass probably 3 foot tall or so. And there were shadows that were standing, like you could see them on the edge of the grass and you could literally see grass moving, but they weren't stepping out. They weren't coming out. They weren't showing all of themselves, but they were there. I think there was 3 or 4 of them. So, but I had an audio recorder up there and I had the camcorder going. In that same place, there was in the front yard. So the house was really fucking haunted and the people were all kinds of messed up. That was the first place where I was able to experience kind of that wall of static. You'll hear people talking about like walking through a literal wall of static. And it's like a curtain, but I walked into it and then felt it everywhere, all over my body. And then I was able to walk out of it and it all went away and I walked back into it and through it. But a friend was with me and she experienced that too. That was pretty insane. Right before that too, some stuff had fallen off the top shelf over. I'm a visual, like I have a visual memory. So that's why I'm like pointing everywhere because I can see it in my head. But the stuff
I talk a lot with my hands, so it's really hard for me not to sit here and go, oh my gosh. So like I have my hand in my pocket and I'm holding my pen to take notes on. So I'm like,
It's all good. No, we had a bunch of shit fall off the top shelf, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Okay, I feel something. Like I could feel something happening. The energy shifted. The energy changed, and then there was that wall of static." And my friend came over, and I was like, "You have to come tell me if you feel this." And she walked right through it too. She's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Yeah," but it was there maybe like 10, 15 seconds, and then it went away. But anyhow, in the front yard, so there were smaller shadows. They were no more than 18, 24 inches, but they were jumping from tree to tree. And I had this on I've got like not Sony, Canon, one of those really nice video cameras, one of the big ones with the night vision built in and everything, like the ones Destination Fear used.
Yeah.
But so it was set up, it was recording, and we were just watching. It was one of those situations we were just sitting and watching because they had seen stuff, the girls, and they called the rest of us out there. And I set up my camera, and I had it on video, and it ended up being erased at some point between leaving that place and upload. It was gone, but it was fucking on there. I'm sorry, it was on there. Like you could fucking see the shadows like behind the trees. And then, okay, listen. And then, sorry, I'm like all up in the camera. Amanda's awake. But listen,
We're having coffee.
Right? No, I haven't had coffee in a long time. But so like those were the trees up here where all that was happening. Well, there were trees over here too, but there were lights. You were talking about fae folk. There were lights like dancing, like have you seen that before?
No.
You're nodding like you know what I'm talking about, though.
I know what you're talking about because I know
yeah. No,
the Fae have been a little project of mine. We were talking off air.
I am so intrigued by it. But anyhow, they were.
I've got them hanging out here. I don't know why.
I'm telling you, all it takes is an invite. Let me come do a little, something. And
well, you'll be here in June, so yeah, you have to swing on by and find out. Tell the little bears to go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I might just like make friends, and I'll be like, "Hey, I'll see you, in a couple months." But no, but the lights were insane. So I did get that on video, though. If I look back on the footage, I will see that because I remember I could see the lights, and they would change colors. So most of the time, they were like this whitish, bluish color, but then they would change to like this reddish orange. So I don't know what that was all about.
So were they like moving through the trees, or were they sitting still? I mean, what were they doing?
No. Yeah, no, they were moving through the trees. So it's just like scrub brush and stuff. And I'm like,
that's like, okay, I'm waiting to get blasted in the face here.
I've got a visual memory. I'm thinking, but no, they were moving towards the bottom of the trees, like the 12 to 18 inches. Again, something short. And they were like dancing. They would come out and they would go back and they would come around the bottom of the tree. And then that hurt. It's okay. But it was just the whole experience I get giddy when I talk about this stuff. I am so sorry. It's exciting. That was a really cool experience.
Get giddy.
Yeah. No, that was one of my favorite experiences. It was really sad though. The homeowner was really in addiction. And so her substance addiction did not help, but man, did she have some going on, some serious stuff. But it was old Indian land. There's no telling. I think she even said she was doing things like in her house, playing around with whatever. Not advised, but for a young investigator. Yeah, no, but for a young investigator, I say young, I'm not young. For a newer investigator, it was a hell of an experience to kind of break me into, especially the fae part of it and the what do they call the shadows in the trees? There's a word for it.
Shadows?
MJ would be able to tell me what I'm talking about.
Shadow people?
No, creatures, forest creatures. They only elementals. Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
elementals. Which falls right back into the fae folk again.
Yes. That's why when you mentioned it, I was like,
So, all right. So we're, real quick. So you take anything. All right. You're in the woods and you're having a class B, class C, possibly class A encounter with Sasquatch. Okay. You take those accounts right there that people are having out in the woods. You put that into a house. You have a poltergeist. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's really eerily similar how the two are. And that's what got me trying to think outside the box when it comes to what is going on out there. and I think the Fey folk are responsible for a lot of this. I think there's a bigger community of it than we realize.
Are you talking about the poltergeist activity?
Yeah, poltergeist activity.
Mhm.
So you take activity in the woods like you just described, seeing, lights moving, shadows, elementals, stuff like that, shadow people moving, right there. You put that to a house, you have a poltergeist. Rocks being thrown, think about it. So you have rocks being thrown, you got stuff being thrown, a poltergeist is going to throw stuff in the house, be really physical and active. You do have that out in the woods, and you're having a cryptid encounter. So
Mhm.
you look at the new neighborhoods that are being built that, as we're, pushing, into, we're expanding, our civilization is expanding, our neighborhoods are expanding. So why are these houses that are 10, 15 years old, why are they haunted? Are
Well,
we encroaching into some of, the Fey folks area, and they're just kind of, they're rebellious?
Well, of
You look at
course.
that. And then you made the comment too, though, that was on Indian land. And I'll be honest with you, I think all of North America is Indian land.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's as far as native land, yes, the entire North American continent is native land, but there's concentrations of where the energy was. Where were ceremonies held? Where did, the mothers and children live? Where did they kill people and bury people? There's that kind of energy that's left. It's not just, where did so and so to go take a shit. It was like where all of that energy is stored and built up. And
for instance, so Stone Canyon, they were building that neighborhood. It's almost like I wouldn't say a cult community because I might offend some people, but
it's not a
it's like a little town outside of a bigger town.
it's one of those entitled rich neighborhoods.
Gotcha.
And they moved, in order to build that neighborhood, they had to move a Native American burial ground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so Owasso always had this Native American legend on it that it would never get hit by a tornado. And so, like, it never had. Like, tornadoes that would start coming and they would just, like, go around or dissipate or do something. You really didn't have to worry. As soon as they moved that burial ground, a tornado hit that exact spot
Whoa.
where the burial ground was at. And then there's been tornadoes happening since. And like we had really close calls this past year, two of them. One of them went
Few years.
one of them went right over the house. And so, like, yeah, there's energy. There's definitely stuff that goes on here. It's it finally I think was it COVID, the federal government recognized this as finally recognized it as Cherokee land. So now it's like on the maps they have an outline of where the Cherokee land was at and everything. So, but yeah, it's definitely it's different out here. So a lot of people don't talk, since there is a higher population of Native Americans out here, they don't talk about it. They look out the window at night, they see something, nope, didn't happen. Hear
That's what
something,
they
Close the blinds.
never go outside. Yeah, that's what they were taught to do. It's just
when they were kids.
don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And so even what is it, like the little
Which that
people?
might be the smart thing
Yeah.
to do.
Was it the little people? I think that's the name. Is it?
If not, you're going to bring home Fey folk if you go out playing in the woods.
Guilty.
It's worth it. Sorry, I keep
No,
trying.
you're good. So
I forgot to ask permission.
yeah,
with research.
there's like
I'm writing them down. I'm writing down every time.
Owe you money?
it's keeping a counter into the
Yeah.
swear
Yeah,
jar.
I got the counter going.
But yeah, so it's not really talked about. So a lot of stuff goes on here. You hear a lot of stuff, but there's definitely some words you don't really say out around here unless you're very bold.
Or an idiot.
Yeah, or an idiot. So like there's words like I won't even really say out loud out around here just because you don't know what's going to come.
It's like it's like inviting. It's like manifesting it to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Calling it to you as well. So, like I got into a conversation speak of, talking about manifestations, talking about Ouija boards and such. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, the Ouija board is just a board. It's just a piece of wood. That's all it is with, letters and numbers on it. However, it's the intent that you put into it.
Exactly.
We carry a Ouija board with us everywhere we go every day.
Yeah.
Like what is the internet? Can we go visit the internet? Can we go to the office of the internet? What is the internet except for it potentially being another dimension?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we tap this and we tap into these things, like what we're talking right now through the internet, so that's how I look at it. I tell everybody all the time, this is, our modern day Ouija boards.
So as far as the spirit boards goes, we're definitely trying to, we're talking about them, and they have a bad rap, but that's also a lot of misinformation, and children that end up playing with it that have never been taught about it and leave it open and get good scares or something like that, or they're used for evil, or you know I mean, it's for sure the intent. How you going to use it? If you have nothing but positive energy and use it for informational purposes, like the way,
Communication.
yeah, communication, the way we've kind of started talking about it, it's like gun safety. You know,
Hmm.
it's you have to follow certain procedures before if you're going to carry around a firearm, or if you're going to even just have one, you have to be protective of it. And it's the same thing with the talking boards. They're amazing tools and have a rich history with them, but a lot of people are scared of them just because of the rap that they get from Hollywood and what other people have talked about. But
Yeah, there's numerous horror movies out there, on Ouija boards and such. So my question is, you mentioned like doing the S's earlier, and I've always been really skeptical of the S's experiment, right? I don't want to open myself up to anything be able to talk to me, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you guys handle that?
I love it.
It's really no different than like communicating through like a spirit board or anything, because you're
He
opening.
doesn't do that either.
I know, but I'm just
He
saying,
just
Yeah,
want to
don't
be
do
a
that.
conduit of
like
any type.
it's any type of medium that you ask a question through that you're expecting a response from.
Voice recorder,
A voice
REM
recorder.
pod, cat
How
balls.
funny!
Yeah.
I started losing you again.
But no, so Amanda is absolutely amazing whenever she gets in, whenever she goes under, and the results that we have, it's crazy.
Verifiable,
Yeah.
apparently.
So, I mean, if you're going to do it, the creators who did it, they used Vic first. They used SB7. I do it how the creators did it, or Frank's box. Frank's box are cool. But when she goes under, it's not a trance, but more like into a meditative
Mhm.
state. And she's able to sort out the words that are coming through.
Which is a feeling thing. It's that emotional empath part. It's like unspoken words. I just know what they want me to say, and more, because I'm a natural skeptic, so I'm constantly saying like, "Oh, I'm making this up. That's not anything." Da 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 da. And this, I'm constantly telling myself I can't do these things until I met him, and he starts recording things and verifying things, and I'm like, "Holy shit." But because it's just it's
Well, you don't
what do
really
they say?
believe that
Nuts
it's
ball.
like, yeah, they're you don't really believe that it's going on until it gets verified. Like, if you have sessions, look it up. It could be getting crazy answers, or you could be talking about something, just be like, oh, that's cool, and kind of move on. But
I
not
disagree with
like with what?
the whole you can't believe it until you verify it.
Well, I mean, you can believe it, but it has a different effect once you can
For
verify.
certain people, for people who need that actual proof, but people like me don't need proof because we feel it and we know it. We don't need the proof. There's things that I know to be true because I know them to be true. And he's one of those people that needs facts and needs to see, which is great. I'm just not one of those people. I don't need to know how something works and what makes it tick. I just know that it's there and it's working for me. So that's great. Oh,
See, I'm both. I'm there. I know it's there. Cool. Now let's figure out what's making it tick.
Yeah. Oh, see that's why I'm like, oh, just because whenever I was looking as one specific session we were doing, I was looking it up as she was saying it because I realized it was important. And so I looked it up. And I'm like, oh my god, and verified it, like a big disaster. I mean, names are correct. The amount of kids that died during the river flood was correct, and said there's a river. We were right by a river. It seems to be always water with us. When we get like this verified. So a lot of people have ended up like drowning that we've been able to come across, which is amazing. These personal experiences are absolutely, absolutely amazing. And, that's one of the reasons why I love doing this so much. When you put stuff out there to be known, to be recognized, to get your names out, or, be like, hey, look at this, is also such a critical thing to be in as well. When you start putting stuff out there that it needs to be verified. So certain sessions, you'll be like, hey, this has happened. This actually happened. Hey, we're able to verify this. I'm like, oh, cool. It helps bring legitimacy to the field when others like believe it's crap, basically.
yeah, no, that's true.
And there's a lot of people that are that way, and I'm 100% with you on that one. When I went to the Sally House, I had heard of the Sally House, didn't know anything about it, other than it was supposed to be haunted. So when I went up there with Chum the Spirits, it was, our encounters that we had while we were there was, pretty cool. And then a couple of weeks ago when JD came down here, he said, hey, put it on YouTube, watch the episode. And he actually has a picture of me they're talking in the house about what they're encountering, and it's what I encountered. And I was looking at the show going, so I was like, okay, I mean, it just, gave it more legitimacy to me, my experiences that I had. And now, like I was telling him, I was like, now I want to go back with more the knowledge that I have. They get in there and possibly see what's going on, because the story of the Sally House to me doesn't make sense. How it could just suddenly one day be haunted.
No.
So.
Well, see, here's a theory to kind of think about now. Since you're more informed, do you think you're going to have different experiences? Is it going to react differently to you?
Yes.
We did an experiment one time at Ashmore at an event this past year, and there was two groups of people. One group was told the actual story, and we went down to the basement and got responses from a guy that hates women. The other group wasn't told the story, and they went down there and they got entirely different responses.
Yeah, I think it's part of the manifestation of it.
So something really cool that happened about that Estes he was talking about with the kids and the river and everything. That was at a random, like, abandoned, it was an old hotel that some guy started building, and it was a hotel for a little while, and now it's just ruins. Literal, like, ruins. It's a beautiful, gorgeous place. It's peaceful. It's great. But for whatever reason, I was just like, hey, let's do an Estes. Okay, we'll do an Estes. So we did it, and the verifiable part for me that blows my freaking mind is not the things that he looked up, on the internet or whatever that verified. But it was watching back the footage. I communicated, or I relayed a message from someone named Lou, and then he returned. She said F you. And he was like, well, F you too, Lou, or whatever, and just going back and forth. It was hilarious. I mean, I couldn't hear a thing, but they were having a great time. But it wasn't until we walked out. So we walked out of the woods and back, we could see our car, but there was like in the old school, they have the wooden signs on hiking trails or whatever with information. So there was one of those. The wife of the guy who built the hotel, her name was Llewellyn. Or Luella? Luella. And I was just like, I was just like, holy shit, that's Lou. Like, that's the fucking Lou we were talking to. Because I knew it wasn't a male. It was not a male that I was talking to. It was a girl, or that I was hearing. I wasn't talking to anybody. But it was a girl. She said her name was Lou. And I remember thinking, because I have a hard time not thinking while I'm doing that. You're really not supposed to. But I was thinking in my house, like, that's a weird name for a girl, Lou. Like, maybe I got that wrong or something. And it just so turns out, like, his fucking wife was named Luella. It's like, oh my gosh, it was so great.
That makes sense, though. I mean, yeah, that's where Lou comes from. So let's see, I guess other ones that I have written down here too. Let's see here. But let's go back to when you were first starting off at the house where the shadow people were out in the grass. Okay, so there you said the homeowner was like, addiction wise, and maybe had done some other, activities.
She had talked about that. I don't remember specifics, but they had discussed that the plan was to not do those things anymore, and that was antagonizing the energy there, the spirits there, and that she needed to stop doing that. But yeah, she was very high and drinking alcohol while we were there. So the thing is her and her husband were in the middle of like horrible relationship, abusive relationship. He came out a few times and was like griping at her and like making fun of us. And then the next second he was like real intrigued with what we were doing. But what was the question again?
So I was actually talking, what I was going to ask was, with y'all's research that y'all been doing, because you brought the addiction up, it's something I've been kicking around, is you think that maybe there's a correlation between some of these really crazy paranormal activities between, illicit use of drugs and, and the paranormal? Do you have a theory on why?
Do I have a theory on what?
Opening up
on why?
Generally,
my theory.
Not your theory.
You go ahead.
They might be having experiences. Those drugs, depending on what they're on, are specifically made for you to like hallucinate or feel something else.
She was just smoking pot.
well, other drugs. I was just thinking beyond that, but
Oh, I don't know if she did those.
but
was
it kind of like
hyped up.
opens you up and it weakens your mind really. If you know, if a bad entity is around or something like that, and that's something that you like get addicted in, it kind of opens a gateway for it to make itself in there as well. If it's been trying to get in there for a while, and it kind of puts you at a weakened state.
The correlation between addictions and the paranormal.
Yep. I'm
So,
finding a lot of that.
yeah,
I mean, the show
it's
is called The Drunken Cryptids. So.
no, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like in the beginning of we have the window open too.
Okay.
In the beginning of like somebody moves into a house. They've never had an experience before in their life, but they move into this house, they're fine, they're healthy, they're feeling good, their family's great, they all get along. And then they start changing. The people start changing, the behavior starts changing. The husband starts smarting off to the wife starts yelling at the kids and yelling at the husband, and like that in turn causes that separation, which causes the depression, which causes the substance abuse, which causes, you're trying to talk to people and tell them, hey, this shit's going on at my house, which is exactly what the homeowner was doing. Nobody would believe her. So having us there, she kept saying over and over again how nice it was finally for somebody to actually believe her, to believe what was going on. I mean, can you imagine having all of this activity in your home and just being tortured every day by this negative activity and no one fucking believes you? That would send me to drink. I mean, you would want to escape that isolation and that criticism. And if the drinking didn't help, if drugs are your choice, then go for that. I mean, I'm not telling anybody to go for that. I'm just saying that's what they do. I think that's the correlation between alcoholism runs in my family, so I kind of know the patterns that make that up. And it can begin with the littlest thing, but it snowballs. And that's how, if something wants to be heard, and you're not educated in the ways to be able to communicate with whatever wants to be heard, you ignore it, it's going to get louder. You ignore it, it's going to get stronger. It's going to want to, get your attention. And that's where scratching comes from. And that's where banging on the walls comes from. And no doubt sometimes it's, a negative entity or whatever. But I think a lot of the time it's just them struggling to communicate. But that's horrific. That's a horrific thought. I've never had to live in a house that was haunted. I never had activity here until after, I met him and started to develop myself. And now things happen every now and then. It wasn't your fault. It's just I'm opening myself up.
Well, living in a haunted house as a kid, I can tell you that it's very interesting as well. And even living in a haunted house as an adult, when I was stationed out there at Fort Hood, the house, when I first got stationed there, was 100% absolutely haunted. For whatever reason. But, so back to the scenario that you described, you move into a house, there's no problems at all, and the activity starts. What about an attachment? I mean, so that almost sounds like an attachment thing to me, to where somebody has an attachment on them and the entity, does, present itself in the way that you're describing.
Well, the scenario that I started with was everything was fine and dandy with their lives until they got to whatever situation happened to present them with whatever it was that was trying to communicate with them or torment them or piss them off or chase them away or whatever.
Because I'm wondering if it was an attachment, whether they had purchased something with an attachment, or whether, one of them had an attachment and finally had enough of the game and was like, okay, ta-da, here I am.
But remember,
because attachments aren't 24/7.
Are you talking about the specific house that I was at or the scenario that was in my head?
I'm going to assume both. Hopefully we were on the same topic there, which could be my fault.
There was too much stuff there for me to say it was an attachment. There was, the things in the woods, and there was the things up on the hill in the grass, and there was the static wall, there was being thrown around, there was faces in the window. She was seeing an old man looking at her because she was a hairdresser. So she had a pole barn, like, where they separate it half and half. So there was half of it was livable and half of it was the barn. And the half that was livable, she did her hair appointments. She would cut people's hair, and she'd be cutting somebody's hair, and she would see a haggard old man staring at her in the window, and then it would just like fade away. I can't say yay or nay on it, but it just seems to me that there's something in that land. it did not feel right. No matter where you went, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, there was a train crash or there was, somebody got killed. It was more than that. It was a long history of something that, I don't know that anybody will ever be able to define, but
I mean,
wish I knew.
Attachments wise, I always go back to kind of like fundamentals. Say if it's just from a paranormal investigator stance, anyways, attachments, you go to a place, you always got to protect yourself when you leave. Protect yourself before, protect yourself during, protect yourself when you leave. And so, one of the things that I always tell people, the door as you're leaving, whatever it is, make it like clear, but like more of like a protective shield. And, set the intention of when you walk past that, nothing follows you. Or if you forget about that and you're driving down the road and you're in your car between two telephone poles, just some entry point that you can put this barrier on that'll kind of take it away. Always have the intention you visualize. And there's other methods as well, but some people don't believe in crystals. It helps, as far as like the attachments. If you do pick one up at a place, there will be signs when you get home. Stuff will be moving. It doesn't seem quite right.
Start to get sick, start to get angry.
Just out of nowhere and stuff like that. So like grounding yourself, barefoot, walking around barefoot in the grass, that's going to help. And it's being able to recognize the signs of, did you pick up an attachment?
Because when I do it, I pray. I pray before we start, and then I pray at the end. And I'm like, I tell the dude, you're not welcome, whether we have any activity or not. I always say, you stay here. You're not welcome to follow me home. Nope. Stay away.
Once again, that has to do with like the boards that I make, the spirit boards that I make. I pray over every one of those boards, for safety for the person that's using it, for good intentions to be released from it, or, to be inside of it. Nothing but good things go into those boards. So I can't do anything once it gets into the hands of the person. But when it's in my hands.
I'm still here. Go on.
Oh, just say you left.
Nope, I'm still here.
When it's in my hands, it's my responsibility to do the best I can to build something that's used for safe communication, and a prayer set over every board.
Well, let me ask y'all a question. Since y'all have been doing this for quite a while, where has been the scariest place y'all have had the opportunity to investigate?
Together or separately?
Whichever. We do together, we do separate.
I would say probably the most evil place that I've been to, or at least negative. It wasn't any type of investigation. Just out of high school, one of the things that kind of kick-started my interest. I did have a friend that was murdered, but him and his brother, I was friends with both of them. There was 2 trailers on this property, and they lived in the back trailer. And his mom, his uncle, or his grandpa and his aunt, they lived in the front trailer. And so after the younger brother was killed, it's a lot of negative stuff was going on that property. I had pictures where it's just this giant red entity in the pictures in the middle of it. I mean, just a deep red. And you look at that and you're like, yeah, it's pretty jacked. But the mom died on the property. The aunt died on the property. The grandpa died on the property as well. And that place, like, it doesn't let you sleep very well. So if it tries to wake you up, like, you're going to get woken up constantly. I've gotten out of my truck outside of that place, and I felt like somebody, like an entity had murder on his mind, and he came right at me. And I took a couple of steps back, and, I pointed and yelled, I was like, get the away from me. And it backed off. But like that place was just not a fun place. And it's right down the street.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's just a couple miles away. And you wouldn't think it's there, but it's there. I haven't gone down that road since I left. But it's definitely, it was very interesting. I have a picture. I can't find those pictures. It had like 4 faces on it. There was another picture where originally it was like an arm and an elbow sticking out of the doors, and it manifested a couple of weeks later into a number 9 jersey. It's just so much weird stuff has happened at that place. Like, I was there for 2 months, and I don't know how much I slept, but it wasn't much.
No, I don't think I slept at all. So like when I was at the Crescent Hotel that night, I couldn't sleep. Felt like there's somebody watching me the whole entire time. Didn't see anybody, but it felt like, when there's somebody in the room with you,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I had Tawny sleeping in the other bed, and he was sawing some logs pretty good, but it really, I kept waking up expecting to see somebody standing right there at the bed. So
Probably was.
that would be scary. Well, the crescent's haunted. I mean, I'll testify to that one. I'll die on that hill as well. But so yeah, so you just felt like the thing just rushing at you, like full of like
I mean, it was
evil.
complete malice. Yeah. Like I felt like if like he had a knife or something, or like I would have been done right there if it had the energy to be able to do that. But it rushed up on me like that, and that was the first time I had anything rush up on me like that. But it was pretty prevalent, and just a lot of bad stuff. That specific little property, a lot of bad stuff happened on that property. I'm not surprised. I don't know what it's like now. The only surviving, the only surviving person from that property, he finally moved away. But not before basically like it had taken everybody else.
It's comforting.
Yeah, right. I haven't really talked too much about the negativeness of that property too terribly much. I guess now a lot more people. But yeah, it was really interesting and a lot of weird things. Yeah, that was very interesting to say the least.
It sounds like it. And that's one thing too is a lot of people don't realize when we get involved. And we start digging into the paranormal. There's a trigger to it, and it's fun watching the shows on TV. It's fun hearing some of the funny encounters. But when it gets real like that is when
Yeah.
it leaves a mark, and it never leaves. The haunted house in Texas, there in Compass Cove, I can still right now pull up in my memory quite well my last night in that house. I went there, me and my exes split up and I was moving to the barracks. So I had been out and I figured I was going to go by one more time. It was about 10, 11 o'clock at night. I was going to go by one more time before I was turning the keys in the morning to the landlord. And as soon as I walked in the house, you hit the light switch on, the lights come on, and it's like they're on and they went dark. I mean, it was the atmosphere was dark, even with all the lights on in the house. And as the further I walked into the house, the more it felt like I'm getting goosebumps remembering it. Like the house was pulling me in, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that'll definitely do it to you. That's the non-fun side of it.
Yeah, the non-fun side of it, it's gonna, just as she was saying, it's gonna weigh them down. It's gonna mess with your mind. It's gonna drain your energy. It's gonna try to do everything it can to be able to push you over the edge, because that's kind of where they get their energy from. That's where they get their power from. Fear. The more that you fear what's going on.
The theory is we don't know anything, but
yeah, the theory behind it.
Sorry.
The fear of the name drives the fear itself. And so it gives them more power.
They can smell your fear. Cats can smell your fear. They can, motherfuckers. They're jeez. Anyways.
So, all right, Amanda, so what's yours? Which one was yours scariest moment?
I have not been I've been in a lot of investigations. I've not been in one where I was scared. I have been in a situation where I feel like I got jumped by something and I got really sick afterwards and started seeing some scary things. But yeah. But I've not been in an investigation where I was scared. There was one actually here locally. There's the Belvedere Mansion, and it's in Claremore. Nobody gets to go into that place except for one team, and they very rarely ever do it. But I was asked by a friend who's on that team to help because they were putting on, a donation, like donate to the Historical Society, come investigate for the night or whatever. And so I went there not knowing anything about the building, not knowing anything about the haunts. And so I went downstairs and things felt a little aggressive down there, but it wasn't scary. It was dense. It was heavy, but sometimes I'm such a dumbass. I feel the energy over in this corner, like by this, I don't even think I've told you this story, by this, some kind of an air conditioning unit or something. And on the ground, this big industrial unit, it is dark. It's fucking dark. And so I went over there and kind of crouched down, and I was just kind of feeling, because I like to be really still and kind of feel the environment, feel what's around me, feel kind of not the mood of it, but like the energy in the place or whatever. So I was doing that, and something behind me started kind of pushing me, and I could feel myself going back and forth. And it was male energy, and he kept putting his hands on me. I could feel 2 hands like on my shoulder blades just kind of pushing me lightly to begin with, and I started to talk with him. I'm like, "Dude, get your hands off of me. Like, it's not okay. I don't want you touching me." And so he started pushing me more and pushing me more. He wanted me out of his space. And I knew that, but like I was there just for a second. Like I was asking just to be there for a minute, just to feel what was going on. And I mean, other than that, I didn't hear anything really or feel anything other than, the hands pushing on my back, trying to get me out of the space. I ended up leaving. Oh, and then later I go upstairs and I'm, telling the team that our usual investigators there kind of what was going on. And one girl, a friend of mine, supposedly, she is a friend, looks at my other friend and she says, "You let her go down there by herself?" And I look at her, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Oh my God, nobody goes down there by themselves." Like, why didn't somebody tell me this beforehand? I'm down here in this basement and nobody apparently ever goes down there because there's this aggressive male energy down there that likes to, nobody told me. They just let me go down. And so my other friend's laughing. She's like, "I wanted to see what was going to happen." I was like, "Shit, that's not cool." But it was a validating experience because that's what I was feeling. That's what I was sensing. That's what happened to me. And they're like, "Yep, that's like some name or something." They call him something. They're like, "Oh, yep, that's so-and-so. He stays down there in that corner and he doesn't want anybody over there." I was like, "Good deal. Glad somebody told me. Thanks for letting me know."
Well,
So,
that's like the forequarter that we have in downtown North Little Rock. There's 2 entities there. There's a female and a male. And the male is downstairs and the female is upstairs. And the story is it used to be a brothel. And the working girl either fell in love with the John, got pregnant from the John, something to the point where she was wanting to retire, to leave. And the owner was like, "Nope." Got into a big fight and he slit her throat and pushed her off and she died. A few years later, same owner gets to a bar fight, same spot, his throat gets slit, he gets pushed off, same spot.
it was her that did
And
it.
so he's downstairs and she is upstairs. Now, I've never, in all the years I've been going there, I've had one encounter, downstairs, never had an encounter upstairs where the female's at. So, but there's footage. I mean, they've got on their security cameras footage. I mean, the staff that works there will tell you, yes, it's haunted. I mean, we will go and move our chairs to clean the floors and come back out and the chairs are right back where they were at before. And, the typical poltergeist activity that you would get.
Right.
It seems like, but the guy, the male spirit will not go up the stairs. He won't do it.
He's scared.
He is. I would be too.
Dang, and now I got to put up with her the rest of my afterlife.
And so tomorrow night, we're going to be doing, podcast time travel. I mean, this episode's going to air after we've already been there. This is where, our friends Chumming Spirits, JD and Larry, they're on their way down here now as we're talking. So they should be here in the next 4 hours, but they're going to a hotel. I'm going to be asleep. I already told them.
Isn't there a kind of get off topic? Isn't there like a really good dessert place over there in North Little Rock, like Sherwood area, like a bakery that I've heard really good things about? I never remember the name of it though.
I don't know about there's a couple of, I'm trying to think of one off the top. Like out by my parents' place, there's like the shortcakes, which is really good. Then there's my daughter was here. She would tell you because bunk cakes. Yeah, we got bunk cakes. Yeah, bunk cakes is, they just opened one up over here in North Little Rock. And I've never been there, but I hear nothing but great things about it. Now, Dark Side Coffee, that's the place that we go to all the time when everybody comes in from out of town. It's a Star Wars themed coffee shop.
That's fun.
That's
if
cool.
you like Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. 1 second. We got to flip this phone real quick.
I got to plug it in. No.
Yeah, so you can reach it.
Plug it in. Sorry, old commercial.
Died.
I told you I was right.
No, that's what I was doing the whole time. Phone's just getting low.
You want me to plug it in or not?
I'm like, and I'm not like, behind me in the tavern bar, I've got little trinkets everywhere. Like I have the sign from Star Wars.
Oh, nice.
So I have that sitting down over here.
The Chummy had a picture of the bad guy, one of the bad guys from Karate Kid.
That blonde?
Oh, I forget. No, not the blonde guy. The
what an asshole.
The instructor.
The guy in charge of Cobra Kai.
Yeah, the guy in charge of Cobra Kai. Well, in the TV show Cobra Kai, he even gets like this elite union and he can't even take down Daniel. Well, they had a picture of him holding a lightsaber. I was like, that motherfucker can't gets like one of the most dangerous dojos and can't take down Daniel. Now he's, taking the next
Got a
level.
lightsaber.
Like, lightsabers.
Yeah, it's not on camera, but up here I'm pointing back there is I've got a Boba Fett helmet and I got the Mandalorian banner and everything hanging up there. So yeah, I'm all about the Star Wars.
Me and my friends used to play RPG D&D style game of Star Wars.
Yeah, I did as well from West End Games back when I was in the Army. Loved it.
That was when I was in the Air Force.
There you go. See, everybody in the military is playing some sort of role playing game.
Yeah.
But that's how I look at fantasy football. I look at fantasy football as a role playing game for guys, just to beat up guys in high school for playing role playing games.
Exactly.
So together then, all right, well, so since you are really, Amanda, you're really empathetic and you walk in, you can get all the vibes to the house. How do you keep that from overwhelming?
That's a good question.
Overloading your emotions, kind of getting too overwhelmed with it. I have seen people who have gone into some of these haunted locations who just completely get way overwhelmed and break down. So how are you able to, what do you do to separate that, to keep yourself balanced and to protect yourself?
It's hard. If you talk to an emotional empath, it's one of the hardest things that you can do because you do absorb everything off of everybody, living or dead. We go back and forth all the time. If he's in a shit mood, like if he's feeling a certain way, I completely absorb it. And it becomes what I feel, not because of anything. It's something I can't avoid. He came home from work today feeling some sort of way, and immediately,
way to go, Philip. It's only Monday.
I know, right? But immediately I started feeling it. I started feeling the tightness and the anxiety and everything. With my kids have been the same way. When my oldest daughter's having trouble and she's going through something hard, I immediately absorb that. So when I go into a place and I'm feeling the sadness or the fear or the loneliness, number one, I try to keep myself grounded physically and grounded mentally, just reminding myself that I'm here for a purpose, that I'm not here to belong. I'm not here to absorb everything and take on everything for everybody. I'm only here for a moment. I'm here to communicate and help if I can. And I'm only there for a little bit of time and then I'm going to leave. There was a situation up at Belvoir Winery. One of the last times we were there, we were up the cemetery and a little boy grabbed a hold of my hand, one of my fingers. And just one of those things, I know it was a little boy. And it was one of the craziest things ever, but I received that he wanted somebody to be with him for a little bit. He wanted to feel that companionship and that I'm starting feeling. Situations like that are hard when it comes to kids because I go around and say, like, fuck, I'm not a baby person. Like, I don't do babies, but like little kids, I just want to like grab them and love them all, And with this little boy, we stood up there until he was done. Philip was like, are you ready to leave? I'm like, nope, not yet. Because he needed me there at the time. But when I left, I didn't take it with me. The exchange that he and I had, I got what I needed and he got what he needed. I've been lucky to not get into a situation. Like you said, people end up breaking down. They end up getting taken over by something that comes on a little too strong. I've heard about it. I've seen it. I would hope that if I were in that situation, that I would be able to ground myself and keep myself in reality. But I think one of my biggest weaknesses as a human is I love people too much. And there's a chance that I would stay there in that moment if that spirit needed me.
Okay.
But
I can see that.
Yeah.
So if there's one place y'all could go investigate, where would it be?
We're asked that one a lot. And we always say there's a castle in Ireland.
Scotland,
that we would both love to go to.
Well, you had me going to Scotland, period. Let's go. I don't care where it's at. Let's just go.
Right.
Right.
We're both from over there, like down lineage anyways. So
I think, as far as investigation wise goes, yeah, Edinburgh Castle in Scotland would be amazing. But dang it, I want to get to Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. We both do. Oh my God.
I will tell you the secret to Skinwalker Ranch. You don't have to go. Just go to the Uintas.
What?
So where Skinwalker Ranch is located at is in the Uinta Mountains. Yeah, the Rocky Mountains there in Utah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm from. So I grew up playing in the Uinta
No
Mountains.
wonder you are who you are.
So, and, looking back as a kid, you don't put two and two together because you're not, paying attention. But, as an adult, when you look backwards, you go, that was odd.
Yeah.
I won't forget to where, we had an outhouse at the cabin. We didn't have plumbing. We had an outhouse. And at night,
Wow.
my mom would take all the girls and they would all go use the outhouse together. And they came running back one night saying that we were throwing rocks and we weren't throwing rocks at them. Yeah. Yeah. My stepbrother woke me up in the tent, freaking out, saying Bigfoot was holding the tent up with one finger, just one finger. He's all freaking out. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking I'm going to open up the tent and there's Bigfoot. And no, we were on the ground, but he was scared to death of something. The heat, I don't know what it was, but, again, you laugh it off. So my mom had an encounter up there. There's a great place I'm working on trying to go up and research called Hellhole Lake. So, excuse me, that was on the list to do things this year, but the fest is taking that over instead of going up there. So, but yeah, that's where I'm from originally. So I grew up in the Uintas. So if you want to go to the Skinwalker Ranch, just go camping in the Uintas and you're going to have something. There's something about the whole area.
10,000%. We're there.
Yep, go. Go.
Oh my gosh.
It is amazing. It's gorgeous up there. It's so beautiful. You're talking rough and rugged. This is the mountain experience you want to have.
Yeah.
And of course, something up there too. So
Oh.
Utah's a very strong cryptid place. It doesn't get reported on a lot because of, the people there and how it could, but growing up there, everybody knew the Bigfoot was up there. Everybody knew there's something in the mountains. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would be making fun of, what'd you do? See Bigfoot? But in the same time too, though, people going, yeah, there's
It's like,
things up there. My step grandpa, he kept a scrapbook full of newspaper articles, people sightings that, they report in the newspaper. My other grandpa, I won't forget, we were watching the Patterson Gimlin film in the early 80s. And I won't forget him sitting there and he got real quiet and he goes, he's up there. And that was all he said about it. Not like, this one time when I was up there. No, he was like, he's up there. Fly fishermen will be up there fly fishing and come back with the story seeing something, hunters, everything. So, and a lot of people don't realize just exactly how it's like Arkansas, to be honest with you. Arkansas is a very haunted cryptid location.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why Arkansas is so haunted is due to the fact that, you mentioned it earlier, crystals. We're full of quartz crystals. I can't go dig in my backyard or my front yard without hitting a crystal. There's quartz everywhere. And I think there's actually something to that. I can't, verify it, but there just seems to be some sort of odd, strange connection with it.
Can I ask you a question? Hold on, no, me first.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, fire away.
Mammoth Cave System, your thoughts?
Mammoth Cave System. So I do think there's something about the cave system because there's too many. This is where I think that Hollywood and authors have come up with a soft disclosure of something. Middle Earth. Just kind of put Middle Earth out there. Not only did, Tolkien write about Middle Earth, why is it called Middle Earth? If you think about it, it's like on one continent. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. So that would fit into a type of cave system. Look at the new King Kong and Godzilla movies, where Kong lives at. That's like another interdimensional kind of under the earth kind of thing. So the cave systems, I think there is a connection for whatever reason of crazy cryptids that live there. Mm-hmm. There's a theory right now that the Appalachians are so haunted, and the part of the reason why is because of the coal. Mm-hmm. And the coal are the fossilized remains of Nephilim. Mm-hmm. And so when the coal miners started digging them up, they kind of released them.
The Hopkinsville Goblin, he come out of caves where they mine coal.
There's also that river in Gatlinburg, or just north of Gatlinburg, actually north of Gatlinburg. The town that's north of Pigeon Forge, there's a cave out there. And there's like a river that goes under the cave, and they have no idea where it goes to. Like they've had—
Isn't that crazy?
They've had some divers go in. They haven't been able to find where it comes out or where it goes. Like no one's been able to figure out like where it comes out at. So
stick it like an air tag in there.
Well, there's a cave system up in Canada that they recently shut down. They said, nope, nobody's going there. Nope. So the Canadian government shut it down. No more tourists, no more doing this, no more doing that. And the reason is it's a new cave, newly discovered cave. It's a huge cave. And I can't think the name of it off the top of my head because I talked about it, last year. But when I was pulling it up, look at it, the Canadian government came out and said, we're not done looking into it, and we don't want people spelunking, and but you can't go anywhere near it. They have it completely shut down. So there's something to the caves. There has to be. That's
And
wet.
as like nighttime and like looking for stuff, one of the best things that I do is and we need to go do this at some point. It's just you start driving and you just feel where you're going. Take a left here, take a right there, and see where it leads you because
Fucking quarters around here.
like you feel the energy and you feel the way of what you're getting pulled to. So I've come across some like a place where I definitely felt like I need to get rid of, and there's like a couple of roads where you are about to go turn down and you're like, nope, not going there. That was one that was out in North Carolina, but like there's a bridge that's a little bit not too far away from here before they destroyed the road going there because a lot of accidents happen on this windy road, and it was like a steep incline too. And once you got to the base of that, you would turn right and start taking down this going down this road, which by the way, funny enough, on top of that hill Garth Brooks used to live. But
He's got friends in low places.
Yeah.
Connection, maybe?
I think he's an alien.
start driving down that road and you would already feel the
It
energy
looks like it.
from this bridge. You'd already feel it. And so like leading up to this bridge was just, it was a whole experience. But once we got to the bridge in high school, this is when the road was still active. They say because the bridge started falling apart that they closed it, but I think it's because of all the activity and stuff that was going on there and everybody stopping on the bridge. But like as kids, there was a woman in a purple dress with a half a face on the right hand side, and the left hand side there was like a kid fishing. But if the kid fishing was there, the woman on the right wouldn't be there. Or like the troll under the bridge. I had a picture at one point that was 2 red eyes underneath the bridge, and so like stuff was happening there, a lot of stuff. And like I went out one time and we got really quiet, and I heard an old steam locomotive sound whistle, and it did it 3 times to make sure I knew what it was. And then
wow.
we went out on a first date actually to this bridge, and because everyone has a story of Crybaby Bridge.
Sorry, I think that's great. Your first date, you went to the bridge.
No, our first date was lunch at a cemetery and then the bridge.
Look at that.
Listen, okay.
That's awesome.
We were both really excited to meet each other because we've been through some shit and some shit relationships. Forgive me if anybody's
Right.
listening. But we finally find each other and completely support each other in each other's passions. And fuck yeah, I want to go sit with you in a cemetery and eat a sandwich. Yeah, then we'll go sit on a
Why
bridge in the
not?
middle of nowhere and put on a pair of headphones and try to talk to whatever's there, of course. Yeah.
Well, obviously the magic worked because look at you guys. That's awesome.
No.
Your first date. I love it.
So I've never actually stepped foot on that bridge.
Look, I'm a sucker for romance. I'm not going to lie. I really am. I'm a sucker for romance. So I don't watch romantic movies. I mean, I'm not like that, but I love hearing the romantic stories of how people and all that stuff. So I get a kick out of that.
Yeah, that bridge I never stepped foot on.
He's like, let me continue my story.
And then, so we did an Estes session out there. And this goes into the theory of kind of knowing about the area and kind of pigeonholing yourself for the area. So knowing too much and you start to ask specific questions, it kind of blinds you to what's actually going on.
It's what do they call that? Narrow
Tunnel
view?
vision.
Tunnel vision.
And that's exactly what happened to me because hearing back the session, hearing Amanda wrote everything down, listened back to it.
I'm just now reviewing evidence from last year.
And the entire time we were getting stuff about a lady losing her kid and all this kind of stuff, car accident and all that, a baby. And we pulled up the story of that specific bridge, and there was an accident where a lady lost her baby on that bridge.
We didn't know beforehand.
And so we got a lot about that, but the lady goes into the situation, and the notes that we have on that is absolutely insane. Next time we will be going back because, we want to be able to get more and see if it's the same thing or see if it's different. But we just want to be able to like kind of get more of an understanding about that area.
I want to connect with her again. She wants to talk, And as far as you were talking about being a conduit and, you don't like that vulnerability, whether it's a board or an Estes session or whatever, I consider myself privileged when a spirit will connect with me and allow me to connect with it. It's just the gratitude I feel for that connection and saying something about the connection
Being
and
privileged. Yeah.
feeling privileged for
I
the
just
connection. But
I get
it's
messed with enough when I go on paranormal investigations to where I'm afraid if I was to try and do anything to open myself up more, I get touched. I get the weird, like at the Sally house, the cold went past one guy's leg and he goes, "My leg got cold." And I was like, "Which one?" It was the one closest to me. And I realized I'm sitting on the floor with my back against the wall, shivering. And the whole wall around me was ice cold. You could see it on the thermal camera, my hot body up against that blue aura around me. And you could actually, they were putting their hands up on the wall, cold, normal, cold, all the way. And I was like, yeah, to where if I start, my luck, I'd have something, pop in and it wouldn't be fun. And we'd end up in, the battle of wheels and I'd probably lose.
Well, I want to be a safe place. If I'm at a location and somebody needs to tell their story or somebody just needs to get something out or I don't know, you can't say, oh, they're going to do this or they're going to do that or, they're going to cross over. I hate that theory. But when I start getting more and more communication that encourages me because that tells me that I'm enough of a safe place that they feel like they can open up, So
Right.
I would hate to be
That's a
trapped
good
on.
thing, though.
Yeah, I would hate to be the one trapped on that other side with something to say and nobody ever listen. And finally somebody comes to listen and then shuts you down. That would be frustrating.
And
I get that.
I do think there's a little bit of difference between communicating and being possessed.
God, yes.
Those are, you might bring up an attachment if you try to communicate, clear it off, and you could bring up an attachment easily that way. But I think the mind is a lot stronger in that respect, and they still have to, for the most part, respect the rules between the afterlife or the dimension or whatever it is, other side that they're on, and this plane of existence, at least.
I get that. You guys, we've been doing this for an hour 40, so let's get ready to bring this in for a landing. So as we get coming in closer, you've already stated real quick. We're doing.
Yeah, you gotta.
So the dream is to go to Edinburgh, which would be amazing. And you've already stated the activities you guys have going on this year. What about? So you're going to be here in June. Where can people find you at?
So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We've started building up a YouTube, and we have a website as well for our design part of everything. For the spirit boards, pendulum boards, T-shirts for everybody, trauma, paranormal, just jacked up humor, whatever. Offonpurpose.com. For all of us weird people, anyways. The non-weird people wouldn't get the humor anyways, right? We communicate quite frequently or pretty well with everybody, and we're just here to help. I guess para-unity is the word going around right now, so we're just kind of wanting to be a part of that.
One of them. Depends on who you talk to.
Yes, same things. I do think that in both fields, like, for some reason, we have the cryptid field, we have the paranormal field, and we have the UFO field. And in all three fields, everybody hates everybody. It's
really
weird. There's so much inner fighting going on. It's crazy. Everybody's, it's, and I'm trying to, we all need to work together, and combine our research and combine, our theories. Because my theory on cryptids and my theory on paranormal and my theory on UFOs, it changes all the time.
Right.
And that's based upon new evidence comes out, new encounters comes out. The more encounters that we hear, the more that we're going to start add, 2 and 2. Somebody in Oregon is having a strange paranormal encounter, and somebody over in India is having the same type of thing. Okay, there's connection. So what's connection? So what's going on? But we're not going to know any of these things unless people come out and share their encounters with us.
Right.
And researchers share as well their research. I was telling you guys, like, my theory right now is the spider crawl, Sasquatch. Now that can change in 2 months based upon more evidence comes out, more that takes place. And of course, it's just a theory. I'm by no means an expert on it, but if we can all get together and work together, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Are you guys going to are you guys linking up with Chumming here in a couple of weeks up in Kansas or no?
As far as Sleeper or a different thing?
It's like in 2 weeks. It's next weekend.
We don't have anything next weekend. We were talking about the beginning
weekend of the 20.
No, we don't have anything going on.
We were talking about the beginning of March or beginning of February possibly, but what's going on?
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember if you guys are going to that one or not. I mean, like I said, I've got so many sticks on the fire right now. Like I'm going to be with Chummy here in 2 weeks. Again, I'm seeing Chummy the Spirits like every week. It's nice. I love
You
it.
guys are
I
like
love those guys.
besties. It's so sweet.
I know. I love them. I absolutely love those guys. Okay, so tell everybody real quick, you guys, where the website's at, because if not, we'll get on another hour and a half conversation. So tell everybody the website.
offonpurpose.com is our shop, and then you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube for Offbeat Paranormal.
We
And you
float
guys are
around.
going to have your first booth set up at the Arkansas Cryptid Fest on June 6th.
We are. And who knows what
How
kind of hobbies
exciting.
I'm going to come out with before then. I mean, we're going to have a bunch of cool shit. I just keep coming up with more and more things to keep me busy. And then I complain about my brain
As it
being
should be.
weird. Right?
As it should be. You guys, thank you so very much for coming on.
Thanks for having
You
us.
guys are a great couple, and I'm hoping nothing but 100% success for you guys. And I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in June. And we'll be talking more. We got the phone numbers and everything. It may take me a minute sometimes to respond back because I do get busy, so I do apologize. But now that the Steelers are out of the playoffs, I have more free time, so I can get back on this one. So. Well, I'm president of the fan club here too. So, during football season, I have like so many different hats I wear, and it's crazy. But now we're out. Our coach is gone. Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. And then of course,
the only time we ever
and
see you is when JD's like, "Hey, look who I'm with." It's like, "Oh, hey,
well,
there's Matt again."
I try not to post too much of me on Facebook, and I realize I need to do it more. So. I took a selfie right before we started recording. So there's a selfie of me, before we started recording. It's on the page right now saying we're in studio. So, well, you guys, again, thank you so very much for coming on the show. And I'll make sure that I post the website into the show notes for you guys so we can get your website out there. And of course, everybody, if you do want to come on out and you want to meet the wonderful Philip and Amanda from Offbeat Paranormal, they are going to be at the Arkansas Cryptid Fest on June 6th. Of this year, which is 2026 for you guys in podcast time travel. So, but everybody, thank you again for tuning in. If you've had an encounter and you want to come on the show, please email me, send me a message, hook me up. Also, we do have a Patreon available as well. Whatever tier works for you, jump on there and buy me a coffee. Y'all, I love coffee. Please, they help support the show. And again, if you want to be a sponsor, you want to help support the show, by all means, shoot me a message. So, Offbeat Paranormal, thank y'all very much for coming on. And everybody, until next time, here's a miss and a good beer.
I can do anything.